EVO.
Hey everybody, finding me with Josh Wolf. What's going on? I am here in my, I'm actually in my bed tonight. I'm just get back from my show. For those of you listening and not watching, I'm not in my bed. I'm in my bed, but I got clothes on and shit, But finding me, I'm happy to be back after last week, a little break over the weekend. This is the show where I try to hold myself accountable and try to find the most authentic me. I'm sorry, I'm sucking on something right now. Oh, that sounds dirty. But let me take that out of my mouth. That sounds dirty too. Anyways, I had a great weekend, first of all, in Kansas City. I love traveling with Jacob. And we had so much fun. This was my first mushroom show ever. I can usually control the mushrooms, but the mushrooms controlled me. Jacob was like, dude, it's in your top 2 highest I've ever seen you, and it's not number 2. I can't wait to watch the set. I don't know if I'm going to release it. I keep putting my hand in front of the camera, sorry. I don't know if I'm going to release it. It was like, yikes. But it was a lot of fun, and I think I found a couple jokes. But I've always wanted to go push it up to the point where I shouldn't be on stage, and I was right at that line on Friday night. I think the club even said they got one email like, "What the fuck did I go pay to go see?" Which I don't blame you if you don't know that's happening, But shoulder's still fucked up. I haven't been able to be in the gym as much as I would like, which is a big old bummer for me, as you guys know. But trying to work around it and find other ways to, get the same kind of high. Being out of the gym gets me in all sorts of trouble. So I really got to try to match it somehow. But I got to tell you where I'm at. This weekend proved something to me about, I've been talking a lot about comedy recently because it's been on my mind a lot. My comedy, not other people's comedy. I don't give a fuck what they do. But, I've been writing some scripts and rewriting a couple, and there's one TV show that we have a couple companies really excited about, which is super cool, and a show that combines 2 of the things I love the most, music and comedy. And it's basically a Spinal Tap country band, I guess. But it's super, super funny. And a lot of great original music. And I've released some of the music. I'm doing it with my buddy Jimmy Westbrook from Little Big Town. And I've released some of the music. It's hilarious and fun. There's that. And then there's a script that I wrote with my buddy Jeff Wild about taking my daughter. I don't know if you guys have heard the story that I tell on stage about taking my daughter on a road trip to get her first kiss, And I've really enjoyed writing on that stuff. Really, really, really enjoyed it. I'm also planning like this other podcast. I don't want to say too much about right now, but I'm really enjoying digging in creatively on that too. I think what it is about stand up is I am burnt. I can see myself taking June, July, and August off. I'm booked through May. I'm burnt. And because in Kansas City this weekend, dude, I'm going to tell you something. There was a period of multiple years where I would have put my show up because I would do 5 shows a weekend and they were all different. Right. So the whole weekend and I felt so good on stage, so flowy, so in the moment. it was really the height of what I was doing on stage. So fluid, so many jokes coming, and just eating it up, loving it so much. And I went hard in the paint, man, for years. Still am. This weekend in Kansas City was the first weekend, and I think people had a good time, but was the first weekend that I wouldn't rate any of my shows over a 7. I, I'm I'm finding pockets of flow in the moment, and then a lot of what it feels like to me, some going through the motion shit. And I don't like that's not what I want to do. That's not who I am. And that's how I know I'm getting a little burnt. So I'm of course gonna and I did a show tonight at Kimmel's and it was great. And I'm just here's the thing what I'm gonna have to do, which I didn't do in Kansas City. And I did tonight. I'm gonna have to get myself into that mode before I go on stage. And I was able to do that tonight, you know? So instead of it just happening, I'm really going to have to work at it happening. And I've never had to do that before. And that's kind of, but here's how I know I still love creating is and writing is because I'm writing other stuff and having a great time doing it, really enjoying it. So that's what it is. I see, I can understand why I'm a little burnt. I mean, shit, I've been doing it many years, many weeks a year. And most importantly, I want to love it. I don't ever want to do comedy just for a check. I don't because it means so much to me. It means so much to me. It really does. So, and it's given me so much. So I don't want to cheat it, or people come to the show. Although I think people had a good time. The shows are not bad. I hold myself up to a very high standard of what I want the crowd reaction and the energy, mostly what I want the energy in the room to be. Because if the energy is where I want it to be, the reaction is going to be what I want it to be. But I want it to feel like a fucking party, fun, and that has to start with me. And so yeah, that was interesting. But I'm going to tell you something. It's counterbalanced by how much I like hanging out with Jacob. Oh man, that dude's a ton of fun to hang out with. Anyways, so yeah, man, I'm so happy to have figured that out and to honestly allow myself that, man. Not feel bad about it, not lie to myself about it. Just kind of acknowledge it is what it is, and also acknowledge what I have to, I'm not just gonna be able to drop in. I'm gonna have to gear myself up a little bit. Um, and I'm gonna have to also. This is the hard part for me. I'm so used to turning over material, so it's always fresh and exciting. I might just have to accept that for the next few months, I'm just gonna be doing these jokes. I mean, they're new. And by the way, guys, I wrote a new song this week, which I really like. And I don't want people to think, well, I'm not going to that fucking show. It's a good show. I just want it to be the best. Do you know what I mean? When you walk out of my show, I want you to be like, I can't wait till he comes back. Fuck. I want strangers high-fiving each other. I want people to have fun, man. And that's got to come from me. So it's still fun, but not fun. Um, but this mushroom show, I got to tell you, I can't decide if I want to release clips because Jacob was like, there were times where you pause in stories for a couple seconds. And I said, yeah. He goes, you were pausing for like 30 seconds. And I said, no fucking way. And he was like, yeah, you leaned up against the wall at the beginning of your set in some weird pose and just stayed there for like 20 minutes. I mean, I, I was so high on mushrooms. I tried to put the cap of my bottle back on the microphone. And then I tried to hide it from the audience. And then I said into the microphone, I really can't. You guys were staring right at me. What am I? I can't hide that from you. And they were like, no, we saw you try to put the cap on the microphone. It was so embarrassing because I did it on the top and I turned it. So it was like, it went glook into the mic. Glook. So that even if they hadn't seen it, there was no hiding it because it's a microphone. Good Lord. It's so stupid. So dumb. Yo, there was a guy I need to know, what is more annoying than somebody sitting next to you on an airplane, shaking their leg? I mean, when they're shaking the whole row, you just want to put your hand on it. This big dude was shaking his leg. Man, I thought the plane was going down. It was shaking the row so much. And then I just saw this big dude shake. It was crazy. I don't even understand. Like, I've asked people, like, do you even know you're doing that? And they're like, no. I'm like, you don't feel yourself causing an earthquake? You can't feel that? If if I was shaking my leg like I'm doing right now, how do you not feel that? Yeah, I don't feel it. Is it diabetes? Like, why don't you feel your legs? Is that what it is? I had a neighbor. Look, if you grew up in the Northeast or anywhere cold, you knew somebody that wore shorts all year round, no matter how cold it was. And they generally had the same body type, you know, and big calves, big dudes, big calves. But I did have a neighbor, a kid. He wasn't even that big, but I think he was from Germany. His name was Dudley Gore. And he and his brother Colin, they just wore shorts. They would shovel the driveway in shorts and snow boots. And I was like, you guys, your legs? They were like, no, I don't get cold. I was like, that's like, but you shorts. So, I mean, that travels up. I mean, you're not cold at all. They're like, no, we're fine. I'm the biggest weather pussy in the world. Legit, when it drops below 50, I'm turning on the heat in the house. In the house. For sure. Maybe blankets. Heated blankets. Below 50, get fucked. And it drops below 50 here in Vegas at night. Yeah, your boy is not a big fan of that. No, sirree, Bob. I would take, I mean, we love Vegas, but I would take, there's 3 months out of the year in almost every place in the country when you don't want to be there, except for maybe San Diego. So I would take an oven over a freezer any day. What's happening in the Northeast right now? No, sir. Never doing that. I will take 117 for a month over a week of whatever's happening there right now. Get out of here with that. I remember the last time I scraped a windshield. I told my dad, hey, don't expect me to visit ever again in the wintertime. And I didn't. True to my word. I remember I threw a party when I was in high school. The cops came. And they were like, you better run inside and The guy was like a dick. He was like, you better run inside right now and end that party. And I mean, right now. And I was drunk. I went flying. And I slipped on the ice going into my house. And I ran directly into my sliding glass door. I bounced off and I knocked myself out. And I think the cop was like, oh, I could get in trouble. And he walked back to his cruiser and he said, get him up. Get him inside the house. And get everybody out of here. And he drove away. And so I just came to and we kept partying. He never came back. I think he was like, I might have just killed the kid. I better I better not be here when they call the doctor. All right. I did want to do this tonight after the set because I wanted to see if it felt the same as it did in Kansas City after I readjusted how I went into it, and it did feel different. So, lots to talk to you about this week, everybody. Finding me with Josh Wolf. You are enough. Later.